So I am got the camera on a bit of a weird angle here because I'm trying to get away from. There's a projector in my basement, and it's more important that I just kind of talk instead of worry about this kind of stuff. I will try to improve it in the future. But I've been having a fascinating conversation this morning with a person who I very much respect. Her name is Alison McDowell. And what I'm really fascinated by is the way that she seems to be viewing all of this that's happening. And by all of this, I mean the sort of global corporate takeover and application of stakeholder capitalism that we see going on. That most people most people are totally oblivious of it, but she's not. And so we've been having this long conversation, and I'm fascinated by the way that she thinks about things, because again, she's very much leftist, and a lot of her ideas for solutions to what's going on right now, they tend to be just a return to indigenous values and living in harmony with the land and all this kind of stuff. That is not, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a wonderful way to think about things, but it's impractical. And I'm not trying to be rude or talk down to anyone, but it's impractical. There's almost 8 billion people in the world. Did I say in, technically correct? And, those people that are here, they need things. They desire things. They desire to have a place to live. They want heating. They want food. They want a variety of food. They want clothing. They want technology. They want a place to live. They would like to be able to travel. They want freedom. And nothing guarantees freedom to people more than being able to have the ability to earn the amount of freedom that you want. I've always been fascinated by homes and human intelligence, and I'll tell you how I make that connection. I find, and I'm open to being proven wrong on this, but it seems to be that people who have a higher level general intelligence on the IQ scale, and we can go into the IQ debate. I'm not doing it, but the point is this, that people that tend to score higher on the general intelligence IQ tend to be people that are more conscientious. They tend to be people that think more about their lives and how what they're doing right now is going to impact the future. So they're less prone to being easily led down a path of alcoholism or just basic thrill seeking. And they're more about creating the world for themselves in their own world. And so they're concerned with putting things in order and making sure that their bills are paid and having spreadsheets and talking in a way that is well formulated and put together so that they can communicate those ideas with other people and build a life. This is why they tend to have success in business, in the business world, in bureaucracy, whatever form that takes. And right now we're seeing a whole lot of people that are very good at bureaucracy and deliberation. And one of the most important things for these people is that they come to consensus. So there's an air of conformability that comes with a sort of higher level general intelligence that is pretty uniform. I mean, this is people from all around the world that they build their lives in such a way that it works for them. And from the previous system, um, you can do pretty well if you just adhere to a few simple kind of principles, which is, stay off drugs, stay off alcohol, go to school, pay attention, learn what the system wants you to learn, learn how to engage in that system, and build a life for yourself. Make investments. Start putting money in the bank early on. Start putting money in RRSPs here in Canada. Start doing all the kind of things that people do to build their nest egg so that they can retire comfortably. And that's, there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay, I think. But going back to where I started, the idea that intelligence and house size matters is you need to be pretty, forgive me for saying this, you need to be pretty self-absorbed to be one of the people that has a giant house. And the bigger the house, the more likely it is that the person is a successful person that does all the things that I've just said. There are, of course, criminals that find themselves in the same situation, and musicians and athletes, and even those type of people. I mean, they make hard commitments that most people are not willing to put in the time for. And that's to be commended. That's why we live in a meritocracy. But the idea that you could have a big house and not be somewhat selfishly motivated to take part in a system, and that your entire life has been built, so you say you reach that level of success, your entire life has been built by cooperating with the system as it exists. Is that bad? Is that inherently bad to do that and want to live your life in that fashion? I don't think so. It seems sensible. That's why so many people engage in it. But very few people are able to see outside of that paradigm. But what we have going on right now in the world is the destruction of the idea that people should not engage in that paradigm. Okay? What's happening is there is the world as it is, and there is the future coming, and a conscientious person will plan for it and engage in it in that way. So to that point, I'm going to just play this little clip. This guy is Richard Baldwin. This is what we were talking about, the thread here. She posted this. Alison did. I originally posted this this article saying, did China trick the world into coronavirus lockdown? Chinese people are very conscientious. They are smart, but they enjoy engaging in a system that if they follow the rules, they can have success. And I'm obviously speaking broadly, and I don't mean to sound racist or rude or whatever. I mean, things that people might put on me for saying such a thing, but I mean, it's true. Not to be rude, but if you've ever dealt with people from the Chinese community, they like respect. They like engaging with people, but they also like a certain conformity to the rules. They're big time on the rules. That's why you see them in a lot of management positions. And that's nothing bad on them. I mean, it's a system that works well for them. So why would China not engage in trying to have their system that has worked very well for them be a worldwide phenomenon? Why wouldn't China do what the people and the bureaucrats at the UN want them to do? Why wouldn't... Okay, I'm getting a little too esoteric, but the point is that, when China locked down, supposedly because of the novel coronavirus, It was the bureaucrats and the people in the media that came out and defended their actions and said, look how wonderful it is that they listened to the authorities and they listened to the medical experts and they listened to all the people in public health who are all these kinds of people. They're all people that are conscientious. They engage in society in a way that has been successful for them, that has built their lives, and they don't see outside of the paradigm that they're coming out of and into the one that they're creating. I think that's my opinion. They don't see the ugliness of it all because they have a certain disdain for people that do not do the things that they're supposed to do in society. And it's, now that's a real issue. I mean, judging other people based on what you think is true, I mean, it's rampant in the world right now. And do we ever really get to the true meaning of what is true? Again, I'm going a little far off the rails here, but so what is true? China apparently is back to normal. They are destroying the rest of the world economy because of the wonderful effects of their lockdown, at least in the eyes of academics and people in public health. It's just so wonderful. And if we would have all just done what the Chinese did and be locked in our homes and blah, 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 it's total nonsense, first of all. If you think like that, you're an idiot. I mean, you're an ideologue. You're a person that cannot see the world outside of your own narrow view. An ideologue is a person that has made an ideologue is a person that has decided that what they think about the world is the correct way to think about the world, and that people who think differently are wrong. This is where you get all this how to be an anti-racist teacher and what do we do about the colonization and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's all thinking it's grounded from the same place. You believe in a certain narrative about how the world was constructed, and you look at everything through a lens that amplifies that narrative. And so this lady, she's such a nice lady. Honestly, I like talking to her. She's very interesting. But I posted this thing, and she posted. I added this to my blockchain post. The talk was given in early April. It seems in South Korea. Check out the audio shots. No masks, no distancing, nothing. And it was this clip. I'm just going to play it for you. This guy is. Let me just do this on the fly here. Richard Baldwin. Oh, shit. I already had it on the post. Never mind. Sorry, that's why I was doing this. I forgot. So, sounds like a clever little... I can't help being sarcastic. It's just the way that I am. I'm sorry. Richard Baldwin, sounds like a clever little foot soldier for the new normal. But what are his motivations, I wonder? Let's take a look. He's an ideologue. His new book that he just came up with, all about the new normal, that wasn't always the plan. Know how I know? So if I can just decipher what I'm saying there. He wrote a book, and he always knew where the world was going. And one of his major concerns was, what do we do about all the people that are going to be put out of work by technology? And so here's his book that's going to tell you all about it. Mitigating the COVID economic crisis, act fast and do whatever it takes. This is about establishing the new normal before people have a chance to get their heads screwed on right again. Before all this mirage of disease gets washed away with time, because it will. It's obviously not. I post stuff about this all the time. This is not a pandemic. There's not people dying left, right, and center. This is total baloney to bring in a new system, because these people have a belief system and ideology which looks like this. Because climate change. This is stuff from his personal account on Twitter. How to make hashtag trade policy. How to make use hashtag trade policy to leverage hashtag climate hashtag action. More details on climate provisions and trade agreements can be explored here. So He's into the world of bureaucrats that are trying to figure out how to fix the world that they see as inherently bad and faulty, and they're going to make utopia whether you like it or not. Why? Climate change, of course. And Donald Trump's bad. We all know that Donald Trump's bad. Forbes' net worth calculation posts a New York Times reveal. Yes, Donald Trump is still a billionaire. That makes his $750 tax payment even more scandalous. Oh, yes, he's the worst thing that ever happened in the world. Destroy the guy that is trying to give people freedom. We can debate about that all day if you want. I'd love to have that debate. And new enforceable rules from the WTO, the World Trade Organization. This is another arm of the UN. Rethinking trade involves having in place enforceable rules and a system that is responsive to current needs, such as digital economy and environmental concerns, says this guy at the opening of the Geneva Trade Week. These people all knew what was going to happen, and they're all just going with the flow because they wanted it to happen. And this is why they want it to happen. One of many reasons. Here we go.
And thereby bringing automation and globalization to a whole bunch of people in the advanced economies who've never seen it before. The good news is they're actually easier to read.
So he's telling you that this thing was coming. He wrote his book, The Globotics Upheaval, and presented it at the World Economic Forum 2 years ago. This is the same kind of guy as Klaus Schwab with the Fourth Industrial Revolution, trying to figure out how to fix the world before it implodes. So he's going to tell you where we're going and why what is happening now needed to happen. This is from April of 2020.
Reemploy, but into what I like to call downgrade unemployment. These people will not be out of a job forever, like a factory worker or a farmer would. And lastly, they're not ready for it. That's what puts the upheaval in the globotics upheaval. I think when these people realize that they're in direct competition with low-cost foreigners and robots, I think they may join with the blue-collar workers who were resisting it the last 2 months, and we may have an upheaval.
Oh, well, we don't want people realizing that their future is in trouble, because then there might be an upheaval. The blue-collar workers, the people that are being put out of work and realize that their livelihoods are being threatened and that they're losing autonomy and control over their own lives. They're an issue. We need to do something about these people before they cause instability to our perfect system. That's what's happening. And what motivates people like this? Well, amazingly, the same thing that motivates a person like Alison McDowell, who I think has the best of intentions. But it's just, see, look, I am pro-human, I'm pro-innovation, I'm pro-common future, and I'm pro-freedom. And if you're not pro-freedom, then you're pro-tyranny. And what is capitalism? Capitalism is freedom. It's the ability of people to engage with the world on their own terms and build their own nest egg. And these are the most conscientious people that do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But these people don't seem to know that they're destroying their own ability to engage. They see it as, hey, now we're going to have a system where we're going to determine who gets what, like down to the last little grain of salt. And the only way that you can engage in the new system they're building is if you engage in the new system they're building, and there is no opting out. There is no freedom. This is total tyrannical top-down control. But what are their motivations? Their motivations are they want things to be in order. They don't see that there is such a thing as creative destruction. That people, when you have people engaging with the world, they're going to make mistakes. But there's a handful of people that make leaps and bounds above and beyond the rest of society, and they make unbelievable contributions. And that's how we got to where we are now. And we're stopping those people from being able to, like, we're stopping the possibility that one of those people might come out of the woodwork. Whether we know it or not, that's what we're doing. And you know, it's when I get to this point, I'm asking her what's motivating these people. She's saying things like a paycheck, and yeah, of course. But it's conscientiousness that's motivating these people. It's pathological altruism. It's people that believe they're doing things for the right reasons, and they're stopping people who they see as doing everything for the wrong reasons. So I'll leave this. This is today is September the 29th, 2020. It's just before noon. And so I asked her, I keep saying I agree with everything you're saying, but let me ask you a question. What makes you a better person than them? She's talking about the people that are making this happen, the bureaucrats, really. This idea of meritocracy has a huge role to play in much of it, though note Gates. But the Harvard Kennedy School bureaucrats, I got the degree, I'm special, I know better than anybody how to be a do-gooder. No, they've had successful lives. They don't know better than anybody. There's a system, and they're engaging in the system because it brings them success. And they're actually monsters. That's quite a claim. But they're hanging out with all the other Kennedy School alums, and they can't see it. Well, what they can see are the things that everybody raps is poetic about all the time. Whatever that means. What they do know is that we all drone on about climate change, and we all drone on about people doing damage to the planet and deforestation and all the kind of things that, if you even look into them, I would highly recommend going on and watching the documentary produced by Michael Moore that he got a lot of slack for, Planet of the Humans. Good ideas have consequences, and they're not always easily identifiable. But the idea that we're sold a version of reality that sounds something like this. In developing countries of the world, they need to have a zero carbon impact strategy for energy production. And so how do they achieve that? Biomass fuel, they burn trees. What we're told is that they're cutting down trees. It's the evil capitalists that are cutting down trees in order to graze cattle, to feed people meat. Those greedy people just want their meat, those evil, bad, meat-eating capitalists. But they're actually cutting down trees to heat their homes because, well, actually, in more cases, it's cooling their homes in places of the world where this is happening. But they need energy in order to develop, and we're telling them they can't have it, and the only way that they can have it is if they cut down the fucking trees. And so that's what they do. And because on paper it comes out as a zero carbon footprint energy source, it's promoted and it's given subsidies, and this is the kind of stuff that these people talk about, and it's totally insane, based on first world problems being applied to the developing world. Now, the first world has gotten better on almost all counts when it comes to pollution and how we manage the environment, and all those things they're all going well. They were all going well. Again, Bjorn Lomborg's book, you have to read False Alarm. He points out all this stuff, and growth is good because it brings people out of poverty. It helps people stabilize themselves by giving them the required tools in order to improve their own lives. But now that's being enforced with stakeholder capitalism. She's 100% right there. And it's not about the people that are trying to make a better life for themselves. It's about the people at the top trying to control everybody at the bottom. Now, are they doing it for the right reasons, the wrong reasons? Are they evil? Are they pathological? I believe that there's something called pathological altruism. Look it up. And that's where you believe you're doing things for the right reasons, but ultimately it's the smothering mother. It's It's the mother that does not let her child leave the house because she's always doting on them and making sure that they're protected from everything in the world. And that's a mother's tendency to do that, to protect everyone from everything and let no bad things ever happen to their children, but their children don't grow if they can't get out in the world. So I asked her, okay, then first note that I don't disagree. So everything she says, I don't disagree with what she's saying. But let me ask you a question. What makes you a better person than them? And that's the point, is that her belief system is that this is all because capitalism is bad. The thing that gives people freedom and autonomy. Boy. And that this is somehow not related to that. That the idea that her belief that capitalism is one of the greatest dangers facing the world is not the same belief held and shared by people at the UN, the Agenda 2030, Sustainable Development Goals. They have the same belief system. It's the same. They need to control people and tell them how to live their lives. That's hubris. And it's willfully blind. I'm not trying to insult anyone. It's amazing to me. People can't see this stuff. Anyway, they're doing what they're doing because they think they're helping. But their help requires total compliance. Have a great day.